so bright out here I can barely open my eyes. We are back home in Southern Oregon after being gone the last like 10 or 11 days out on Speedweek. Shoot, it's so bright out here I feel like I can barely open my eyes. We just rolled back into Southern Oregon. We've been gone for the last 10 days on Speedweek. And the good news is everything came back in one piece. As racing always goes, it's so up and down, highs to lows, but at the end of the day, we're back. And all we can do is start working towards the next one. So we're gonna start getting things unloaded so we can turn around and get ready for our next trip. So we made it back from one of my favorite weeks of the entire season. We completed the fastest 5 days in motorsports with King of the West NARC 410 sprint cars, and we also ran the Dirt Cup. 8 races in 11 days. In our team, we had 1 victory, our first 410 win, in kind of a weird fashion. We picked up 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, and we passed 32 cars on 6 of those 8 nights moving forward. And then on our 2 rough nights, we lost in total 20 positions, which one of the big hits was, you know, that final night of Dirt Cup, getting a flat tire on lap number 1, which just still hurts. That's such a stab right in the chest. But still, like I always say, that is racing. You know, you're gonna have incidents like that. Sometimes they just come at more crucial moments, you know, and it happened to be at the Dirt Cup for us where, you know, the race paid $62,000 to win, $3,000 to start, you know, 26 grand for second, 18 grand for third, and every lap that you ran in the top 3, you were also making some extra cash. Like I said though, that's part of what we do. One thing worth mentioning though, you know, for our team, we ran 8 nights, which is a lot of races at different tracks, different places, you know, all tracks I'd been to before. We did a good job taking care of our equipment. We kept the 18T rolling every single night, and we ran this car the whole entire time. The only night we had some trouble was there at Skagit when we were beating it off the fence and kind of damaged the Jacob's ladder and some stuff over here. Which in 410 racing or any, you know, high level competition in motorsports, like that is gonna happen. And you always try to look at it from different perspectives, because I do believe, and I think most teams out there do believe, that things happen, especially when you're going 110%, when you're trying to win races, when guys are putting it out on the line. So don't get me wrong, no one wants to ever, you know, tear anything up, but at the same time, like, you sometimes have to put your stuff on the line in positions to where, like, hey, this could kind of go either way, but that's also how you win more. And that's, you know, you see the guys at the top level of our sport, they are the best at taking care of their equipment and still winning all those races. But there's a balance. Like, it kind of, you know, with winning all those races, with being in those spots, you know, sometimes you have a little bit more also, you know, torn up stuff. And as a driver who's trying to continue to get better in the sport, I'm really trying to toe that line. Like I said, the best can run super hard. I mean, you watch the Outlaws and you watch High Limit. Those guys that are running up front, they're not hurting their stuff every single night. They have such a big schedule. They have to be able to take care of their race car, and they're able to do that and still win. So that's a very valuable, you know, tool. Skill's a better word. It's a valuable skill, and you need that too if ever one day you want to be points racing, you're out on tour, you're, you know, even racing some track weekly. Like, you have to be able to make it through the entire season being consistent. So now it is time to talk about what is next for the team. In doing that, you can see this plain body right here behind me, all black. That car right there that I'm looking at, we are getting ready to wrap for this year's Knoxville Nationals. So here soon, our team is getting ready to head to the Midwest. We're doing our annual Midwest trip right in the middle of summer, where we can race as many races in the short amount of time, most bang for our buck. And so yeah, I'm super excited. We're trying to be with all the big dogs this year and have our special Knoxville car ready to roll. So that's getting done. Also, another announcement. This is like all these announcements about announcements, but we have an announcement on our main car for the 2024 season, which that will be out later this week. So overall, things are just really exciting right now for our team. You know, we've ran a lot of races this season. I feel like we're slowly starting to find our stride. We're getting more in our rhythm. But now we are going to be up against, you know, one of our toughest challenges yet. I think we have just about 20 shows in the Midwest, you know, starting up in Jackson, Minnesota. We were on Knoxville. We're supposed to go to Eldora. We have some other midweek shows kind of in there, you know, some outlaw, high limit. Like I said, we'll be racing with all the best of the best. So things are about to get very difficult, a step up from what we just ran, you know, out here in the Northwest, but definitely something that we're capable of taking on, and we need to as we continue to grow in this direction. And I think also too, as I was just talking about Speed Week and how it was, you know, a really good week for our team as far as building consistency, you know, how we just want to continue to hit on that, and you know, now we're about to have to hit on that at a higher level. But man, I feel like we're fast, we're qualifying good, we're putting ourselves in position, but there's just these few little moments I feel like throughout races, like if we could, that kind of define where we're ending up at, if that makes sense. Like I watch a lot of film, I study, and it's always easy to, you know, talk about a race from the grandstands and watch, but man, I feel like our team and like me as a driver, we're really growing in a good direction, and I've been really working on trying to be more aggressive, but there's still just that little bit more, and you always got to chase at being a little bit better. And like I said, there's kind of these defining moments throughout a race that if we could just turn the tables, I think a little bit, you know, that's the difference in maybe, you know, some of our third and fourth and fifth place finishes, you know, maybe turning into having opportunities to win races, to win, to run second, like I said, just to be more in position, which is literally everything. And that's the kind of stuff that literally makes me lose sleep at night. But you know, anyway, it was still a good week. We did win our first race, you know, in kind of a different fashion, but like I've kind of talked about now that it's been, you know, several weeks since that happened. When we're sitting at a table 25 years from now, I'll definitely have one of the more interesting stories of you know, how I won a race in a situation where we took the checkered flag, but we also did not take the checkered flag. And speaking of that night at Southern Oregon Speedway, I did want to share an update with you on Angelique Bell, which is the girl that was involved in that very scary crash at Southern Oregon Speedway the night we won. After being in the hospital for about 2 weeks right here in my hometown, because that's where the track was, that's where she crashed, they transported her immediately. She made it back home down to California after spending about 2 weeks in the hospital, and she's, you know, expected to make a full recovery. So glad to hear that. Anytime something happens to one of our fellow competitors, I think like it's crazy, you know, how the motorsports world works. You know, it really shows that we are all one big family. We're fierce competitors. We'll go, you know, tooth and nail to the very end. But when a situation happens like that, you know, of course, all coming together to show support, whatever it takes. And so we're just super happy that Angelique Bell is going to be okay. And I think I saw in the post that, you know, she if she could race again right now, she would already be back behind the wheel. So our entire team was super happy to hear that. But anyway, we're back home. Race car's just about ready to go again. We got a little bit more work to do, and then we're going to be heading full speed for Knoxville, Iowa, because it's almost nationals time in one of my favorite weeks of the year out in the Midwest. So it's going to be really cool. We're ready to go. So we're going to bring you guys along with us, and it's going to be a really fun next 4 or 5 weeks as we're racing basically nonstop. We'll see you all there. Deuces.